Γεια σας, έχουμε την τιμή και τη χαρά να έχουμε μαζί μας τον διεθνούς φήμης μπασκετμπολίστα του NBA, τον Enes Kanter, ο οποίος είναι εξαιρετικά αγαπητός στην Ελλάδα. Mr. Enes Kanter, welcome to our meeting, and we would like to tell us about your life, your career, and also about your political activism. The Greek people love you too much, not only because you are a famous basketball player and they enjoy you, watching you, your talent, but also they love you about your political activism and for your love to Greece. And I would like to show a photo that you uploaded on Twitter, on social media, this one, showing your love you have for the Greek people. What Greece symbolize to you? What is your feelings and your connection to Greece?
First of all, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here. I mean, that picture that I took was around a year ago, and it was my first time coming back to Greece after a very long time. When you say like what Greece symbolizes, you know, I think in our culture, in our religion, you know, I think the neighbor is very important. So I always, even when I was a little kid, you know, to me Greece was just neighbor. And I remember a year ago when I came here, the people were so nice from the moment I landed and the moment that I left the country. They were so nice. Everyone was coming and taking a picture. They were saying, if I'm going to come and play basketball for Panathinaikos or Olympiacos, I should go to Panathinaikos, and it was a big debate. But I think what Greece symbolized to me is second home for many people, especially for my friends. That's why that post was showing my appreciation for this beautiful country.
And your political activism also includes your actions you got for Greece. I remember in wildfires on 2018, you started a campaign to support the victims of the wildfires in Greece, especially in Athens. At that time, there were 108 people, they died because of the fires. So you started a campaign in the United States for these victims. Could you tell us about this campaign and how you took this idea and you started the campaign?
You know, I follow Greece a lot and what's happening here politically and also what's happening to the country. So I remember it was a very sad day when I saw about the wildfires. And I remember the first moment I was like, tweeting about it is good, bringing awareness is good, praying is good, but we need to do more than just talking and tweeting. We need to show our appreciation. We need to show our heart and empathy for the Greek people. So I started to have a conversation with some of my teammates and some of my friends in America. I was like, we have to help those people because they are one of the nicest and kindest people that I know. So we collected, I believe it was $50,000 or $60,000, and I remember I got so excited and so happy. I was like, you know what? I think now we are doing more than just talking. Because when I play basketball, when we always say, let's play hard, let's play smart, let's have fun, let's win the game. And the coach walks in and said, don't just talk about it, be about it. Me showing love for Greece and Greek people, not only, I didn't want it to be only just my tweets or my interviews. I was like, this is the action that needs to be taken, and I'm taking.
That's why I tell you that the Greek people love you a lot.
I love them back.
Because your life expresses something bigger than you are a talent in basketball, of course. Because you serve yourself to purposes, for bigger purposes in society and in life. Could you tell us in short time about your life, when you were born, and your life in childhood, and after how you joined to United States?
Of course. Well, I born in 1992 in Switzerland, Zurich. My dad was doing his master in Switzerland, so I born there, and I actually moved back, and literally 9 months later back to Turkey. And I grew up in Turkey, the city called Van. It's in east side of Turkey. It's a beautiful, beautiful city. And then because of basketball purposes, I moved to Ankara, the capital. I played basketball there for 2 years. Then I moved to Istanbul, one of the most popular city in Turkey. And I still play for Fenerbahce. I don't know if you know the Fenerbahce or not.
Of course.
I don't support any teams in Turkey, but I can just say that it's definitely one of the biggest and most popular team in Turkey. But I played it 2.5 years. Then, because of education purposes, I wanted to go to America, because in Turkey it's almost impossible to play basketball and get your education. My whole life, I always wanted to be an educated basketball player, educated athlete. So for that reason, I went to America. I went to prep school, high school there. I went to college for 1 year for Kentucky University. Then I got drafted in 2011 by Utah Jazz. I played in 5 different teams: Utah Jazz, Oklahoma City Thunder, New York Knicks, Boston Celtics, and Portland Trail Blazers. So I played 11 years in NBA, and I had an amazing time. During those 11 years, I made a lot of friends, and I am very thankful for the NBA and very thankful for basketball, because it gave me a huge platform to talk about whatever I want to talk about. So I'm definitely very thankful for it.
During the time you were living in Turkey, you followed the education in primary and secondary school by Hizmet schools, in Hizmet schools. That is the schools that were established by Fethullah Gulen movement, called the Hizmet movement. How the education of Hizmet schools affected your character and your personality?
I can just say I'm very lucky, because the Gulen schools, the Hizmet schools we call it, was given the best education, and my family was all about education. They said, I remember my dad was saying, if you want to be a successful person in life, you have to get the best education. So that's why you're going to Hizmet schools. I was like, okay. The reason I am so open to dialogue, the reason I am so open-minded, the reason I am, my whole life I stand for the truth, for what I believe in, even if it means sacrifice and everything, is because of the schools that I went to. It's the education system there, the quality, it was so beautiful at a high level. And I remember first day coming back from school, I was like, Mom, this is like, I had never experienced anything like that before, Usually, kids can get bored during school times, but I wanted to go to school even in the weekends, because it was so much fun. We were learning a lot. It was the best education. But go ahead.
I think about the values, then the values you have. I think, and after you developed as in political activism, could we say that you got the motivations by the values you were taught by this school in childhood?
Well, definitely. I remember, I mean, this movement have schools over 170 countries in the world. And not only schools, but dormitories, universities, high schools, elementary schools, dialogue centers, cultural centers. And whoever go, and if you're Muslim or you're non-Muslim, you are Christian, Catholic, Orthodox, Jewish, you can go to the schools and learn about math and science, And so that's what I was very lucky. And also in these schools, they always teaching us to stand for the truth, stand for justice, stand for democracy, stand for freedom.
This is the most important, the critical point of an education, because any education in every country should not provide only the education in mathematics.
Exactly.
Of course, in literature, of course, but also the education, the full education, the total education should be like being, how can I say, global. I mean, they need to give the young people values, to be leaders, to educate the young people, to be leaders in their lives. To be leaders in their lives, to be leaders in the social, in the society, and why not to be leaders in politics?
Exactly.
My opinion is that the education should provide these values to the young people.
True. I mean, I remember having a conversation with my teachers, and we were talking about freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, and I have never seen that from any other school, in Turkey, but hizmet schools. So that definitely opened my mind to the whole world. So I definitely feel very lucky. I'm very thankful for my parents for sending me to these beautiful schools.
And how and after you left, I think in the age of 17 years old, and you left to United States. It was what time, at what age you started to speak about the political activism, and which actions you took and expressed yourself in political activism?
First time I started to talk about the problems were happening in Turkey, it was back in 2013. There was a big corruption scandal happening in Turkey. President Erdogan and some of his family members were involved in it. And after that, after he got caught, he was going around and putting innocent people in jail, putting journalists in jail. He was shutting down media outlets. And I was like, I don't care who you are, but if you are fighting against a free media, I'm going to say something about it. So I literally put a simple tweet out there. Because of the MBA platform, it became a conversation in the United States and Turkey. So, and then I was like, even one simple tweet can affect this much. From now on, I'm going to start pay attention about what's going on in my country more and more. So I started to read, watch more news, started to pay attention about, what's going on over there and politically and stuff. And the more I studied, the more big media outlets in the United States started to give me a platform. So I was writing op-eds, I was talking about it on interviews and stuff. And because of the MBA platform, every time I talk about anything, it was becoming a conversation internationally. And Turkish government really hated that. But I was like, you know what? I love my country. That is the reason I am so focused on human rights violations and political prisoners and all the undemocratic moves that is coming from Erdogan's regime.
Yes, I think it was a big surprise that on 2013
Yep.
that you saw that something changed in Turkey.
Yep.
And I think you predicted the continue of this story, what happened in Turkey, I think, because after 3 years later, it was the so-called attempt of the coup in 2016, and after Turkey turned into another way of suppressing the human rights because of these presidential decrees restricted by restriction of the fundamental rights in Turkey. So your political activism for your country, how affected your career and your life?
I think the number one thing was my family, you know. So it really affected me and my family. I remember, my dad, for example, was actually one of the biggest and most famous genetic professor, scientists in Turkey. First, they fired him. And then my sister, she went to medical school for 6 years and she still cannot find a job till this day. I think the saddest one was my little brother because he was very tall, very good at basketball. He was getting kicked out in every team because of the same last name. So they were getting affected so much, they had to put a statement out there. They said, we are disowning Enes. They put the statement, but the Turkish government didn't believe that. They sent police to my house in Turkey and they raided the whole house and they took every electronics away. Phones, computers, laptops, iPads, because they wanted to see if I am still in contact with my family or not. They couldn't find no evidence, but they still took my dad in jail for a while. But we put so much pressure from America to Turkey with politicians, with media, they had to let him go. And then after that, they revoked my passport, they put my name on Interpol list. I have now 12 arrest warning for me in 11 years. Just recently, they put a bounty on my head. So, I mean, it just comes with it. When you're fighting against some of these dictatorships out there, they're gonna do whatever they can to silence you. And that's what, Erdogan is trying to do.
It's very serious matter.
Of course.
A state to revoke the citizenship
Passport,
of its citizens.
Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable because we have this in us Greece, we had this experience during the dictatorship that was established in 1967 till 1974. At that time, the Greek government, the dictatorship, revoked the citizenship of Greek citizens.
Wow,
of Greek
I did not know
citizens.
that.
They were opponents to the regime. Wow. So that is very, very for the Greek people. We are very sensitive on these matters, and for us it's a very big surprise that we hear now that the Turkish government revokes your citizenship.
They did.
I think it was when was that the revoking of
2017.
2017.
That's when they revoked it. Yeah.
Revoked. How did you feel at that time? That because by the revoking of the citizenship, you had no any citizenship. You were a person without any country.
Citizen, yep. So I was literally stateless. I was the man without a state. It felt, in the beginning, I felt very sad because I was like, I'm fighting for my country. I love Turkey. I love my flag. I love my people. The reason I am so outspoken is because I care about Turkish people in Turkey. And then after that, I started to realize when I start speaking to other activists, they said, listen, this is the route that every dictators take. So don't take it personal, I did not have a US citizen back then. So 6 years 4 years from 2017 to 2021. No country. I was pretty much homeless.
Yes.
That's what people were saying. But after that, I became an American citizen, and now I still feel it in my heart, because at the end, that's my country.
Also, the revoke of the passport. It's not only a problem that was at that time. Even today, there are many cases of revoking passports by the Turkish government. And what the Turkish government is the practice. They register the passports in the Interpol system, in the database of the Interpol system, as the passports have been lost or stolen. So the possessor of the passport, when he travels, he has a surprise. A bad surprise when he goes to the airport and the police tells him, you know, your passport is revoked because it seems in the Interpol system that your passport is lost. So there is a practice that is not fair. It's not fair by the Turkish government, by the Turkish authorities, how to make troubles to people. They react, they are opponents, or they have different ideas to the Turkish government. So it is a practice, even nowadays, that lasts 8 years, 9 years. I think after the so-called attempt of the coup, 2016, until now, past 7 years.
7 years.
But the strength of the persecutions are still going.
Yeah. So if you're in Turkey and if you talk against the Turkish government, you will be in jail. But if you're outside of Turkey and you talk against the Turkish government and Erdogan's regime, what they do is they use their power to abuse Interpol system with red notice. So they put your name on Interpol arrest warning, and then you will become an international criminal.
Exactly, an international criminal, and exactly.
Not only Turkey, but China and Russia and many dictatorships out there uses that Interpol system to hunt down their opponents. I remember there was one report in one day, Turkey put 65,000 people, let me say that again, 65,000 people's name on Interpol list. So I hope that Interpol can wake up to these lies coming from these dictators. The persecution, and it's still there. It's been almost 10 years now. It's definitely got heavier after 2016, but it's been 10 years. I'm just very shocked that how can a NATO ally, NATO member, can use their power to put innocent people in jail? Right now, there are 17,000 innocent women and almost 1,000 kids and babies, infants, are in jail waiting for help. And we are talking about a NATO member again. So I hope that all these NATO members can wake up to Erdogan's hypocrisy.
Yes. Your last, about your career, because you are a very famous basketball player, and your last contact, I think, as a basketball player was with Celtics. I think it was on 2021. And after
that, I got traded to Houston Rockets, and that was it.
Do you think that your political activism affected in your career, affected your career, or?
So NBA isn't bad with China, and the relationship between NBA and China is around $5 billion. More people watch NBA games in China than American population last year. So when a player comes out and criticizes the Chinese Communist Party, of course, I mean, NBA is going to do whatever they can to silence you because they're losing millions of dollars, they're losing business, and the Chinese Communist Party pressuring NBA to silence the player. But it's another human rights violation. While I was comfortably living in America and playing basketball, on the other side of the world, people are losing their loved ones, losing their homes, and losing their lives. So as someone who has heart, and I do a lot of empathy, you know, I have to think about other people. So for that reason, unfortunately, I'm not playing basketball in NBA anymore.
How do you think the politics are involved in athleticism, and especially in international,
of course,
international athleticism?
Well, I don't talk about politics. I talk about human rights. I have never in my life, even including Turkey, I have never in my life said, let's vote for this party, let's vote for this president, because that's not my job. My job, when you're an activist, you focus on the violations and political prisoners. So I don't talk about politics, so no one can come and challenge me. What are they going to challenge me about? Why are you talking about the violations? Why are you standing up for innocent people in jail? You know? But athletes plays a very important role in our society, because if you're an athlete, you have millions of followers. You have, now with all the social, media apps and smartphones, there are so many kids out there watching you and idolizing you. So for me, it was important to be a role model, an idol for them.
As I know, you have established basketball schools in the United States. Could you inform us how this idea came up to you, and what is the character of the mentality of these schools?
So,
and how many schools you have already established in the United States?
So whenever the season is over, NBA season over, many players goes to vacation, goes to, hang out in clubs and bars and at parties. But to me, it was time to give back to community. So what I have done is I started to organize these free basketball camps. The reason I don't charge kids money, because I don't want their money and I don't need their money. I wanted everyone to come to my basketball camp. It doesn't matter you're poor, you're rich, whoever you are. So what I do is I try to bring religions together to play basketball. So we bring Muslim kids, Jewish kids, Christian kids, Orthodox kids, Catholic kids, Tibetan kids, Buddhists, Hindus, everybody. We bring them in and we play basketball. We don't talk about no conflict. We don't talk about no war. When you put these kids in the same team, it's a team sport. They have to learn from each other. They have to communicate. They have to learn how to win together. And that's the key word, together.
Exactly.
So we just play basketball. And then you see after the basketball camp, they shake hands, they talk, they exchange social media, they exchange numbers. So it is an amazing project. So I use basketball and sports as a tool to bring people together and then show them that before everything, before religion, before color, before ethnicity, culture, we are all human beings.
Yeah.
So see human first, and then everything else comes.
So by these athletic schools, of course, you give education of playing basketball, but in the ground, behind of this, you educate the young people.
Exactly.
to develop values that are very useful in their lives, like the solidarity or to work together.
Exactly.
Because the basketball is the main play game that the players should be connected and cooperate together.
I was just having conversation with some of my Turkish friends in Greece. I was like, we have so many fans in Greece. We have lots of Turkish people, lots of Greek people, and there are a lot of people that loves us. Why don't we open up a school in Greece?
Yes, yes.
So in the next year or two, I would like to come here and actually open up another school in Greece.
It is an amazing idea, and we would like to support this idea.
Love it.
Because we know your talent, we know your values, and your way of life shows us your character and your personality. That means give us the trust and confidence. We can proceed with your ideas, because I think your ideas are our ideas too in Greece. I think we share the same values and the same ideas, how we see the world. What is for you the connection between human rights that you strangle and the democracy? Okay, let's think a state saying I am a democratic state because the leader is elected by votes, by elections. Democracy is only elections. Think about the human rights, for example. If the state does not respect the human rights, is a democratic state. What characterizes a state as a democratic state, as a democracy?
I think people's basic human rights and freedom comes definitely first. If the people don't have freedom in a country, if people cannot speak freely, freedom of speech or freedom of religion, if people are uncomfortable, if other religions are uncomfortable in that country, it is unacceptable. If people cannot express their feelings, that is not a democratic country. So human rights and freedom definitely comes first. And it doesn't matter, even if you are an elected president, and if you don't respect people's basic human rights, and if you don't have that freedom in a country, that country to me is not a democratic country.
Yes. Struggling for human rights is a challenge, so we can improve our state in a democratic way, democratic way. And I think this is the reason that you have contact with Greece, and also the Greek people, they like you, because the Greek people also have a deep sense of the democracy. And we would like to have a contact with you. Thank you very much for this conversation. It was a honor for us to be with you in this meeting. And we hope that we will have another meeting with you in the future.
I want to say thank you to Greek people, thank you to Greece and the government in Greece, because I have a lot of friends here. I have lots of Turkish friends who actually escaped from Erdogan's pressure and heavy persecution that came to Greece. And now Greek people from day one, they opened their arms, giving them a warm welcome. And now whenever I speak to them, they said, this is our home now, because when our country kicked us out, Greek people accepted us. So right now, we're going to do whatever we can to make Greece better.
Yes.
So I cannot thank them enough.
We hope in the future the two nations being together based this contact between the two countries based on values, as you expressed, because this is the only way that the nations could be together and cooperate.
Yep, exactly.
On basic values, as these values that you are strangled as a political activist. And we thank you for your actions, because you give us also the example how we can work together.
Appreciate that. No, thank
And
you
we
so
thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.